Hello, and welcome back to Studio Session. I'm Catherine, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Getting started with today's report. For reading, I'm somehow reading 3 books at once, and I know I've briefly touched upon this in some of my other episodes about how I just keep picking up more books, but now I'm reading the book I have to read for school, which is Frankenstein, another book that my friend is reading for school that I said I would read with her, and like my own personal free reading book. So I'm somehow juggling 3 at once, and I'm hoping I don't like confuse the plot lines in my head. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. For eating, I feel like I might have already said this in another report, but I think grapes are such an underrated fruit, especially when you like put them in the freezer. I don't know. They're just great. For playing, I surprisingly really liked Ariana Grande's new album, and I feel like a lot of her albums are kind of like hit or miss for me. She had a lot in like the 2000s, kind of like her pop girl era. She had a lot of hits, but then I feel like her newer stuff was kind of like, okay, a couple on the album I like. But I thoroughly enjoyed this new album by her. There are so many songs that I immediately added to my playlist. I think it was just a really well-crafted album. For obsessing, I recently rediscovered my old digital camera, and like the latest pictures on it were from I think like 2016, which is like going on 9 years ago, which is completely insane that was that long ago. But I'm just so excited that I found it because I've been wanting to buy a digital camera. I think that all the pictures that people are taking on them are so cute. So I really wanted my own. So I was so happy that I didn't have to buy one. I just found my old one. And it's just really fun to look back on the old pictures that are on there. For recommending, I recommend that you support the Class of 2024's post-grad fundraiser this week by buying one of our Pura Vida Spirit bracelets, and they'll be on sale all week, and the exec board is selling them, so please consider supporting the class. They're $8. And for treating, I treated myself to V-Show this past weekend. It was an amazing performance, and I'm so happy I went. They always do such a great job, and this was just phenomenal. That's it for today's report, and let's jump into our main segment. I'm joined with Lucas for our main segment, and today's album is This Old Dog by Mac DeMarco. Of course, this is yellow album cover for our Rainbow Month. This is an indie rock album that was released in 2017. Okay, my favorite song on the album, it had to be For the First Time. I know it's one of the most popular ones, but this song is just so good. The instrumentals are just beautiful, and I noted that I think it might be some like my favorite like ever. I love the whole vibe of the music in the background of the song. The lyrics are sweet. I kind of interpreted it as him kind of like seeing his girlfriend, lover, whatever, after like just a long time apart. I don't know, it was sweet, wholesome lyrics, and just something about it just made me love it. I don't know. It's just such a well-crafted song. So For the First Time was my favorite.
I had the same top choice. I also went with For the First Time. For the same reasons Catherine said, I really like the background noise. I said it kind of feels like something I've heard before. I mean, I probably have, but I couldn't tell you when that was. It's just a subliminally excellent song. Sounds like one of those liminal spaces, if that makes sense. And yeah, I just think it's the best one on this album.
My second favorite on the album was On the Level, and this was a song that I had never heard before, but I really, really liked it. I thought that kind of like the opening tune, like it kind of drew me, and it kind of took me aback because there was a lot of like more sullen songs before it. It was a little more upbeat, so I was like, oh, okay. This was just an amazing song. Again, the instrumentals, great, love them so much. I think there was like repetition in the lyrics. I think he repeats the words like on the level, but I think it was done well. It wasn't like boring or didn't like drag on. It had a chill beat, and I just overall thought it was a really good song. On the Level was my second favorite.
For my second most favorite, I selected Baby You're Out. I thought the background was really catchy on this one, and it had a timely rhythm. I also really liked the instrumental continuing as Mac DeMarco's like stops talking. I thought that was a really good piece. It's just really fluid, I think is the best word to describe this track, and it's definitely one of my favorites from this album.
This brings me to my least favorite on the album, and I was really surprised that this ended up being my least favorite because I know it's one of Mac DeMarco's like most popular songs, but my least favorite was Moonlight on the River. I just did not like the ending to the song. It was too much for me, too chaotic. Like I know that was probably the whole point was to kind of end it with a beat that was different from kind of the opening part. I just thought that like the instruments came on too strong. I really didn't like it. It threw me off, and the beginning didn't wow me enough to like save it, in my opinion. I don't know. I know that like it's popular. I know people love it. Just something about it threw me off. I don't really know how to describe it, but unfortunately, Moonlight on the River was my least favorite.
For my least favorite from this album, I picked Sister. It's just not a song with a lot of quantity to it. 78 seconds total. This one is 5 lines. Just not a lot there. And this album again didn't really have a really low floor. It was a lot of the worst songs on this album were more middle of the pack, and I thought Sister was just the worst of those.
My underrated pick for this album was the title track, This Old Dog. I just loved the sentimental kind of vibe to the song. I thought the lyrics were wholesome and they kind of had some storytelling aspect. I just thought overall it was like a sweet, laid back tune and definitely deserving of the title track. I think it kind of captured the whole vibe of the album. So This Old Dog was my underrated pick for this album.
My underrated pick for this album is A Wolf Who Wears Sheep's Clothes. I thought it was a little Beach Boys-esque, if that makes sense. And again, a very nice background here. Definitely just a focal point of this album is the really good instrumentals that are going on with this. The production is top notch, and you can really feel it on this album. And I think A Wolf Who Wears Sheep's Clothes is a great example of that.
For my overall album rating, I actually don't have it written down, but just going off the top of my head, I think I would rate this a solid maybe 6 out of 10. I noted that a lot of the songs sounded very similar to each other. And even though I liked nearly every song on this album, there weren't a ton that I loved. So I feel like I can't really rank it much higher than about a 6. I really like Mac DeMarco's vibe. When it comes to his singing, he kind of has a calm, relaxing tunes, lyrics. I don't know, just everything about it is very calm. And I think his lyrics are really meaningful too. A lot of the songs felt very sentimental, sweet, solid overall, just nothing that really wowed me. So a solid 6 out of 10.
I gave this one a 7.5. Again, like Catherine said, it's pretty similar sounding, but I also feel like Mac does a good job buying into that, and a lot of these alternative artists do kind of have similar sounds that resonate throughout their albums. 7.5 I feel is a good rating for this because if you put that in terms of like a test, that's like a 75. Like you're passing, but you're not doing anything extraordinary. I feel like that's the detail with this album. A lot of good songs, a lot of good tracks, but not really one where I'm looking at it and being like, oh, that's top notch. Like it's not like we have a chamber of reflection on this one, and for that reason, I'm giving it a 7.5.
That was our review of our Yellow album for this month, and let's jump into our next segment. For our next segment today, we are back with another Playlist Essentials, and kind of hinting at the This Old Dog title of the album we reviewed, we're going to be doing songs with an animal in the title. And this was honestly harder than I thought to find songs with an animal in the title. I went through my main playlist on Apple Music that has a just mix of every song I like, pretty much. And I was surprised at how few songs actually had an animal in the title. But these are my top picks. First, an honorable mention. I was really tempted to put the Chipmunk song on this list. I refrained, but I would just like to give a shout out to the Chipmunk song. Amazing, amazing song. Okay, my third place pick was Birds Don't Sing by TV Girl. I don't know if a bird counts as an animal, but I'm counting it because this is one of my favorite songs by TV Girl. I don't know a ton, but this makes me want to listen to more of their music. I just think it's really well done. It has a cool beat, and there's kind of I don't know how to describe it. There's background, it's like half vocals, half instrumentals, because you can't really tell what they're saying. But I just think it's a cool song, and I really like it. So Birds Don't Sing is my third pick.
Okay, this is a stunner for me as I didn't realize there was a debate over whether birds were animals. I have 2 bird titles in here, so I'm hoping that they are. I'm not a big science guy, but I figure they might be. Third place for me is The Bird by Anderson .Paak. I really like this song. It starts one of his better albums, and just from a musical standpoint, it's just such a beautiful track. Very soulful as he is so often, and I think everyone should go give it a listen.
My second place pick was White Horse by Taylor Swift. You know, I had to throw a Taylor Swift song in here, and I think this might be her only song that actually has an animal in the title. This is on Fearless, and I think it's just one of the more emotional ones on Fearless. It's very sad, but that's kind of what makes it so good. I think Taylor Swift does a great kind of sad breakup-esque song, and this is definitely a prime example of that, and definitely underrated, I think. So definitely give White Horse by Taylor Swift a listen if you haven't. I think it deserves more hype on Fearless. So that is my second pick.
I gave my second pick to Doves in the Wind by SZA. Got a great Kendrick Lamar feature here. I put this down because yesterday, me and a couple of buddies, we went to Dunkin' Donuts where we were treated with a dozen free donuts. Thank you, Will. And he was playing this song, and he was like, Lucas, you know what song is really good? Is Doves in the Wind. And I listened to it when I got home, and I've definitely heard this one before, but I was like, oh, okay. There's a lot to unpack on this song, definitely. But there was 5 total Animal songs on my 700 song playlist. So we're really fighting for crumbs here, and I feel like Doves in the Wind is really just better than the other ones.
My first place pick is Karma Chameleon by The Culture Club. This is just like the epitome of like a summer song to me, and I don't know if that resonates with anyone else, but it's just beachy, tropical, I don't know. But when I hear the song, I think of summer, and I really am really looking forward to summer. So that's just kind of why this fell into my top pick, because of the summer vibes it gives me. Such a great song. It's upbeat. And yeah, I love it so much. So Karma Chameleon is my number one.
Shout out to my boy Mason. I am just like 90,000% sure that we've talked about Karma Chameleon before as being a good throwback song. Number one, just no doubt in my mind, has to be Elephant. The only challenger would have been Freebird, but I left Freebird off because I used it already. Elephant, just an absolute banger of a song. And I probably have used this one too now that I'm thinking about it. But honestly, it's slim pickings with these Animal songs. Just such an iconic track. I first discovered Tame Impala, my first listen, I listened to the Slow Rush because I heard One More Hour on TikTok. And after that, I obviously listened to Currents, but then I listened to Lonerism, which this song is on. And I was pleasantly surprised because this was the only one that I knew previously. So definitely an awesome track. It goes back, I think this album's like 2012, which is now 12 years ago. So if you wanted to feel old today, there you go.
I was really surprised by how hard it was to find Animal songs. I don't know, I feel like they should be more commonly used in song titles. And thinking about it, I feel like birds are definitely animals, right? They're not mammals, but they're still animals, I think. I don't know. But those were our top picks for songs with animals in the title, and let's jump into our final segment of the day. For our last segment today, of course, we're going to talk about what to expect next. But first, we decided to give a little shout out to the V-Show cast, and we're going to be talking about our top 3 favorite moments from this year's variety show. So starting with my number 3, I gave it to the Family Feud skit by the MCs. This was hilarious. I know Brianna's mustache kept falling off, and I was like cracking up. I was in the very back row, but I still could kind of see everything going on, and this was so funny. I don't know, just they executed it so well, and it was definitely my favorite skit by the MCs.
Yeah, so for my third skit, to be frank, Catherine, you went on Friday, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I went on Saturday, and I know at least one of mine is different because this, to my knowledge, did not happen on Friday. I'm not sure if the other 2 are. The first of those other 2 is Carlos's Jay-Z cover. What an incredible moment. Mr. New York himself, Carlos, just absolutely going crazy with the Jay-Z verse on Crazy in Love. We were all hyped for him. Definitely one of the highlights of the show.
So unfortunately, when I went on Friday, because I am on Class Exec Board, not unfortunately, it's not unfortunate that I'm on Class Exec Board, but I helped run concessions, and the one act I did miss was Crazy in Love. So I honestly do not know if he sang that on Friday. I did go back and watch one of the videos on YouTube. So don't worry, Grace, I did see your song, and it was great. But so I have no idea if he sang that on Friday, but I did see a video, and it was great. My second favorite variety show moment was the ending, the Copacabana song where everyone came together at the end. I love the song Copacabana, so I was so excited that they picked that as kind of like the encore song. Even though it just kind of kept repeating itself, I never got tired of it. It's just such a danceable song, and you could tell everyone was really having fun to it.
So for my second favorite moment, I picked the alien skit. I just thought this was one of the funnier bits by the comedy scene. They came into the crowd. I thought that was pretty fun. I thought every time that the crowd was involved, I thought it just made it that many times better. And just I feel like this was probably the funniest comedy skit. So I'm gonna say that the alien skit is my second favorite moment from V-Show.
So my favorite moment isn't really one particular moment, and it's kind of just like corny, but I just said seeing everyone have like the time of their lives in this show was like the best part. You can just see how like passionate a lot of these people are about what they love doing, whether it be dancing, singing, acting in the comedy skit. Even like the MC is just, you can tell how much work was put into it, whether it be like the props, the costume changes. You can just tell everyone was having so much fun. And I know even like the people you didn't see, like the backstage and the tech, just loved what they were doing. I have so many friends who did backstage, and they were just always having a blast, even though you didn't see them. They just put so much of their time and effort into the show. And I just think it turned out so good. So I'm really proud of everyone in V-Show.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo that sentiment. Definitely, you can tell it's just the final product is a testament to how much work these guys put in. They worked the whole February vacation, which is a big ask. I know I like sleeping on February vacation, so it's definitely a harder thing to pull off. And year after year, they're doing it. Shout out, Mr. Lahoud. I know you're listening to this, and I know you have a huge role in V-Show. So thank you for doing this year after year. My favorite moment has to be Sean's Saturday night mic drop. This came in I believe it was the Bigfoot skit, whichever skit had the Bigfoot in it. And Sean was supposed to be like a hiker or a camper. And he said, I've only been an Eagle Scout for, checks his watch, 9 hours. He was named an Eagle Scout earlier in the day. We gave him an ovation for that one. I thought that was the best moment. I was so happy for the guy. I was like, this is like the culmination of a Boy Scout's legacy. And I just thought his mic drop there was the best moment, far and away from the show.
Oh, because I went on Friday, I did not see that moment, but a great accomplishment. So yeah, just shout out to Mr. Lahoud and Mr. Boudreaux for making this happen. Shout out to all of the members of the Variety Show 57 cast. It was just a great show, and I always look forward to it every year. I've never been a part of it, but I love watching it. Okay, so to kind of end our podcast today, we're going to talk about our next album, which is going to be the Weezer Green album. It was honestly hard to find albums with just green covers, like primarily green covers. We decided on this one to kind of add a more throwback aspect. We've been doing a lot of more modern albums, so we decided to go back a little bit with Weezer. So excited to give this one a listen. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you next time. Bye.